This is another one of those episodes where I don't know what I'm going to say. It's probably going to be a theme from now on, just to officially run out of things to say. So, I guess my family's celebrated Valentine's Day a day early. The reason being because the first day of Lent is Valentine's Day. Ash Wednesday was Valentine's Day, and you can't really... You're supposed to fast on Ash Wednesday. You're supposed to not eat food. Eat very, very little food for breakfast. Very, very little food for lunch. And you can have a decent to okay dinner. And you're not supposed to have any snacks in between. So, Valentine's Day, the day where you get candy and, have like a big meal and celebrate. We decided to do that at the same time that Mardi Gras happens. At the same time, the day before Lent. And so that happened. I got some candy, and I ate it, and that's pretty much all I have to say about that. That was just 1 minute of content. I'm so happy. I'm so happy about this. I'm just kind of in a mood right now where I don't feel satisfied with who I am and what I want, and I don't feel like I'm at a stage where emotionally I'm okay. And so I have nothing that I want to explore with my mind. I'm continuing to do it anyways out of discipline. Whenever I go to work, I'm still listening to the medieval songs or medieval composed music. Just still going through that list of medieval composers. Ran into an interesting one the other day. How would I explain it? Most of the medieval composers, if you go through them, there's like a paragraph that describes maybe he was born at this place in this city and then he wrote some songs, and that's pretty much all we know about him. But then I came across this girl, whose name was Hildegard Von Bingen or something like that. And she has like 10 paragraphs of information about her. Like, there's a lot of stuff there. And I searched for her name on YouTube and found 10 or several hour-long tracks of different selected songs by her. So she's kind of famous. And then further down the line on YouTube, when I did the search, I was seeing all this this new age holistic weird imagery that you'd see in the 60s or whatever, that's associated with this random nun girl from the 1000s to 1100s, right? And so I looked into her because I was curious, and found out that she's kind of, well, she was a woman, first of all, and you hardly have any woman composers. But second of all, she was a doctor of the church, meaning they considered she was kind of like a visionary. She had visions. She saw God, apparently, and she would write down what she saw in books. She also wrote a bunch of medical books that are actually kind of inaccurate. They recommend bloodletting during a full moon or whatever, or all kinds of stuff. But there's also a bunch of holistic approaches in her books, and I think that's why the new age people of the day like her. And the music that she composes is kind of like Gregorian chant, but a little bit, it's like Gregorian chant, but there's a little bit more energy and there's a little bit more highs and lows in it. And it's sung by one person, and so it's very meditative. I can see why people are looking, new age people are into that. But she's also got the attention of feminists. Feminists have looked into her because, feminists always love to find a woman who, in that day and age actually achieved a lot of stuff, because they want examples of people who they can look up to, and that's whatever her name is. Hildegard is definitely one of those women. She composed a ton of songs. She wrote a ton of books. She was a doctor of the church, which is not even possible for most men to be, so there's that. She was a visionary, and just a lot of stuff. Interesting person. Not much else to say about her. But I ran into an interesting person, so why not just comment on that? Just share my knowledge. I'm still I think the tone of the composers are shifting from the composers who are composing like church music to the composers who are composing more, pop music. Pop music meaning it's changing from, just church music composers to troubadours. Troubadour is a storyteller who plays like a lute or something and tells a story at the same time. And sometimes they just write the story out as a poem, and then they compose a piece of music to sing for each line of the poem. And then that's what they have left. And that's what I'm kind of running into now. A lot of those. And it's kind of hard to parse those without, like, I have to look at English translations of what the lyrics are in order to get anything out of them, because the tunes are still not catchy. They don't feel catchy in the way that music today does. And it's probably because I'm just not, that's not the music of my time. That's not the music I listened to as a kid. The music I listened to as a kid was more, Disney songs and, pop songs, punk rock, whatever. That's the kind of music that I know, and that's the kind of music that I find catchy. But I wonder if back in the day, when people first heard these songs, if they found them catchy. I really wonder. Because they don't have, like, the repetition that a catchy song needs. Like, there is a repetition, but each line of a melodic verse is a different tune. And there's, like, 5 different lines before they go back to the repetition. And so you have to memorize that whole thing, that whole movement of music, all individually. And there's a lot of, like, little additions that you wouldn't see in music nowadays. Like, you kind of find it in, like, Indian music. Like, if you look at ancient Indian music, or just any kind of ancient music, Iranian music, where people just go, where they add those little ditty things. That's not something you see in, like, American music, or most Western music even. But I guess way back in the day, they liked doing that, because there was a ton of that in there. Is there anything else that I can say about that? Not really. I really don't have much to say on these short Kokino Podcast things. I wish that I had more to say. On the way home, on my drive home from work today, I decided, because I have kind of this theory about the music, why the church music, that was composed, for mass or whatever, isn't as catchy as the theory isn't as catchy as pop music. And it's mainly because, the church music, like I said previously, is kind of like trying to imitate what it's like to be in heaven, and it's trying to be floaty on purpose, and just sort of have that feeling of being in the air forever. And I think the only reason that they have to write down this music is in order for multiple people to be singing it with the same voice. Like, it's not the kind of music that you just want to sing along to necessarily, unless you've heard it a lot. I don't know what I'm getting at, but I guess I do, but I haven't really parsed my thoughts about it. But yeah, I think the music is melodic. My brain is broken. I can't think of it, man. I've lost it, man. I don't know what I'm thinking. The music is. Oh yeah. Well, the reason they write down music, the reason they memorize music is not necessarily because it's catchy or because it's good, but only so that they can have one voice singing the same tune. Like, that's the reason that they wrote down the music, so that they could have multiple people sing in one voice. Like, the music itself, this is what I was trying to say, the music itself is kind of has this feeling of being improvised, but you can't improvise with a group. Like, you can't improvise one melodic tone, one constant melodic tone that's going up and down with a group. Like, they can never get that in sync. So they have to write down this stuff. They have to memorize it, and they have to compose it in order for multiple people to be able to sing it at once. That was a very, very roundabout way of getting to that point. but at least I got to that point. I don't even know if you understand what I'm saying. I don't even know if I understand what I'm saying. I am so confused. And I don't really like making these right now, but sometimes I do, so I'm going to keep making them. This has been the Kokino Podcast. See you guys next time, I guess.